The Pink Floyd film The Wall and Gerald Scarfe's animation is something that is remarkable. Roger Waters' performance at the UN is something that is remarkable for quite other aspects. He has become an apologist for Russia. He has become a tool for Russian propaganda, suggesting that although, thank God he says, although the invasion by Putin's Kremlin was illegal of Ukraine, there were Western provocateurs. This is simply not true. This is simply not true. There are no Western provocateurs. The build-up to Ukraine's attack by Russia began in 2014 with the invasion of Crimea. I wish at that moment that Radek Sikorski had had slightly more support, and should have had more support, particularly from the UK at the time. That was governed by Cameron. Cameron and Sikorski knew each other. I think it was extraordinary that Sikorski was left on a limb to face off Putin on his own. But at that point, the West should have stood up to the bully and said this is not acceptable. And there could have been an agreement to pull back. The West should have stood up to the bully that is Russia with the completely unreasonable Minsk agreements, which of course are on paper and which of course Russia now thinks are an acceptable basis for an agreement. They cannot be. They cannot be, because they are an obliteration of another nation's sovereignty. And it's not just simply another nation. It's a nation that gave away its weapon systems to its neighbor, to Russia, in return for promises of security. This is betrayal on a grand scale. And for some second-rate musician to stand up in the UN and pretend that he is a voice of reason in the pay of Putin is an abuse of the entire forum. I would definitely be. I've got a copy of The Wall. I would definitely be throwing it out. And any mention of that film and that music, I think to come one day after Mr. Zelensky's visit to the UK, to hear this rat speaking in favor of, or as an apologist for Putin, is utterly appalling. I'd be very interested to know what you think. Very interested.